Shout outs. That's Shay. What's going on? Is this the 99%? We got a tremendous amount of organizing to do. The last couple of rallies that we've had right here at Johnson Library haven't had the representation that I know as Hampshire College. Historically, contemporarily, we need to organize, shut down a lot of these classrooms. When we organize something that's a mass mobilization, we got to make sure that everybody, even if they don't understand all the issues, make sure that they come out and participate. And I think that that's one of the beauties of Occupy Wall Street. But I want to talk about the language piece around Occupy Wall Street, because I think it's important for even us who are in solidarity with Occupy Wall Street that we'll be careful not to simply use the oppressor's language, right, to define our struggle, to define this struggle. And so you're starting to see people talk about unoccupy and decolonize and liberate, which are old concepts, 67, 77 concepts, right? These are old concepts. But it's important that these new movements connect themselves with movements that have had long-standing grievances in this country and in this world. It's important that our new wave of activity has a historical consciousness that's not wedded to the past, but is informed by it. And the liberation of these spaces is what's critical, as much as we use the term occupy. So I just want to make sure we put that out there and really think about how we decolonize and decolonize our own minds as we participate in this. Otherwise, we're going to end up replicating the same structures over and over again. And it's also important, too, that we understand one of these ancient struggles is the struggle for racial justice. And one of the things that is important to think about as we continue this movement, because it certainly is going to continue. And listen, I'm from California. Oakland showed everybody what time it was. I had to put that out there. W's, throw your W's up, you know, whenever you want. Anyway. But it's important that we understand the solidarity and the notion of interconnectedness. How racial justice struggles connects with the prison struggle. How the prison struggle connects with this Occupy Wall Street movement, and how the Take Back the Land movement connects all of us, right? We have right here in Springfield our own No One Leaves campaign, right, against the foreclosure crisis. And what they're doing is identifying the banks that have received bailout money, and they are going after those banks to, one, get them to restructure the agreements with the people so that they can stay in their homes. So many families have been displaced. The last statistic I saw was in one 100-day cycle, there was over 400 foreclosures just in Springfield alone. All right, and over that same period of a year, there were over 5,000. So Springfield used to be known as the city of homes, now it's known as the city of foreclosures. So what are we going to do? How are we going to really connect on the local level and really define what Occupy means on the local level? And that's the opportunity that I think that we have more than anything else, is to connect with these local struggles. As much as we have this national, international conscience, connect with these local struggles and extend these local struggles. We'll talk a little bit about the prison system. On December 9th, we'll mark the 30th anniversary of Mumia Abu-Jamal. Free Mumia! Exactly. And there'll be a convening in the city of Philadelphia, downtown, on December 9th. So I know we're going to be finishing up, you know, your finals and everything. That's our last week of classes, but if you can, get down there. Or tell your family and friends who are in the state to get down to Philadelphia to support Mumia Abu-Jamal. And I point Mumia out because he's really critical. One, that whole issue of resisting behind prison, or what we call behind enemy lines, is something that he's done since 1981, unwaveringly. Some of you have heard his audio reports that he puts out through prisonradio.org. And some of you read some of his books. Jailhouse Lawyers is his latest, right? Mumia Abu-Jamal is the symbol of courage and strength for movements like Occupy Wall Street. And any new movement for justice, Mumia represents that. When you talk about equality for women, whether you're talking about justice for the LGBTQ community, whether you're talking about racial justice, whether you're talking about issues against imperialism and colonialism, Mumia Abu-Jamal has been on the front lines of that struggle, articulating it for new generations. And actually, the reason why I point Mumia out as well is because that's when I really cut my teeth, standing where you are, back in the 90s, trying to make sure that we got Mumia Abu-Jamal free. Now, we haven't been successful with that, as you know. But just imagine one of your family members, cousins, friends, spending 30 years on death row in the dungeon. So we have a lot of possibility, but we also have a lot of unfinished business. And I don't know about you, but I'm about finishing unfinished business. This is where it's at. And listen, we want to be a protest movement, but we also don't want to be afraid of militancy, right? Because direct action protest changes things. Okay, I want to show you that again. Direct action protest changes things. If anything, when Oakland shut down the port, that's direct action protest. Right? You can't be afraid of militancy. And I always say, this is also a 60s rhetorical piece, which is repression breeds resistance. And that's an age-old concept. And every time you see repression, you're going to see people resist. And so hopefully Occupy Wall Street continues to resist, continues to enliven itself, and continues to deepen the analysis of struggle. And the last piece that I want to say is that time will tell how committed we are. But if we look at people like C.L.R. James and Grace Lee Boggs, W.B. Du Bois, these people spent 70, 80 years of their public life dedicated to struggle. So the least that we can do is dedicate a couple months, a couple years, a few hours, some days, right? These people spent their entire adult lives committed to these issues. So in many ways, it's nothing new. But we have to look ourselves in the mirror, look at each other, and ask ourselves how committed we actually are. This can't be a phase. This can't be something you put on your resume to go back and work for these corporations. The point is that exactly. Did you say occupy your resume? No. The point is how committed are we for the long term? I was pointing out to one of my classes that the Montgomery bus boycott lasted a year. How long do we have for this movement? Now, we're going to have to go back inside for a little while to warm ourselves, because it's about to get real cold. But at the same time, the important part is how we return, how we come back, how we organize when we do go back inside, who we organize with, who's in solidarity with us and who's committed, who's equally committed, and what principles we stand for, and what are the things that we will never compromise on. And those are the things that I think we need to think about as we organize individually and also collectively. So I just want to say free the land, and y'all say free the land. Free the land! Free the land! Free the land! Free the land! Right on, y'all.